Welcome back. Architecture and human health. Can we combine those two words together in a sentence? The answer is yes, and we do have an expert who is going to answer all our questions regarding this and how to use architecture for the best health of all of us. Well, before we start, let me first welcome my dear guest live here in the studio, engineer Dr. Mohamed Hendawy, professor of architecture, Hertfordshire University, the UK. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and a very good morning.
Thank you for inviting me, and good morning.
Let's first define the term. What's healthy architecture?
Okay, well, let's first define what architecture means.
Okay.
I usually, in my lectures and my journey, I found that architecture means that solving problem in a pleasant way.
Okay.
So, solving people problems, people needs, people requirements. So, architects usually create lives. It's not about creating pleasing designs or a pleasing image like most of the people think. So if we started from 1980s or 1970s, where the architecture paradigm, design paradigm changes from environmental behavior to green architecture, which is almost done. And we now
environment and green?
Yes, the environment.
They are not the same?
It's very close in definitions, and if you want to go more in depth in this, we can talk about what's the difference. But let me define the era of the design paradigm era right now or recently. It's mainly focused on human health and well-being, how we create spaces and places for human. Human is a part of nature. So it's all about reconnecting the human with the mother nature, the God creation. So the inner software of the humans, which God created, it's really connected to the nature surround him or her, and it really have a really positive impact on the psychological and physical condition of any human
This
being.
is what you're saying, sir, is how that the urban planning affected the health of citizens, or
Yes.
this is something else?
Yes, it's about the design theory or design paradigm, how we reconnect the human with nature
and
again.
how, for example, green areas can really affect my psychology
Yes.
and make me feel better.
Yes, it's many of the existing proven sciences and applied sciences, which is I like to call it or name it applied sciences, because we use it in our designs in Egypt or outside Egypt, how we integrate the nature with the built environment, which the built environment is the man-made, all the physical man-made surrounding us, from the brick, the building, streets, parks, hospital, hotels, and even the technology. It's a man-made. So all those things made by man, and man created it based on design. So the design is very important.
Let's implement this on me, for example,
yes,
sir.
it have a positive or negative impact.
I do not live in Cairo. I live in another city far from Cairo, about 150 kilometers or something like this. Do you think that planning of cities can affect my physical performance? I mean, I feel that, oh, my psychological state, my physical performance is different in my city, and when I come to the capital, the case is a little bit different.
Oh yes, for sure.
Is this true?
Yeah, for sure. The urban on the macro scale, we name it macro scale, the urban planning or the city planning, or all the physical surrounding, the built environment, that has a very plays a vital role in human psychological condition, and how you perform and how you interact with the surroundings, how you perform in your work, how you perform with your family. Defining the well-being is not an exact definition or scientific definition, but it means it's how you perform positively and interact positively with your family and
according
society.
to what, for example, pollution And pollution here, it's not only pollution in the air, for example.
Yes.
There is audio or individual
Yes.
pollution.
Yes. Noise
and bad scenes or stuff like that. Can this also be part and parcel of the issue we are talking about?
It's not a part. It's the main part of of the impact of the surrounding on the human or the individuals or the user or the end users, as we name it in our professional careers. Noise, it has a very negative impact on our brain, and there is a very important connection that architects has to know, the connection between mind and body, which is the immune system. The immune system is the core of the body. So the noise, the air pollution, the water pollution,
Sure.
the visual pollution, all of this impact your brain, which is directly impact your immune system and affected badly or negative, which is causing a lot of chronic diseases like high blood pressure, heart attacks, and diabetes, or even cancer.
You name it.
Yes.
Just before being on air, I was reminding even myself with Hassan Fathi of the Nuba, and to make sure that the lighting, and even to build a home or a house as if it were air conditioned.
Yes.
How these things also can affect my way of life,
Okay.
my daily life routine.
Okay, this is a very good question. Let's start with Hassan Fathi and what we call ecological architecture or vernacular architecture, using the passive techniques, the natural ventilation, maximizing the daylight, and depend on those natural things. It really impacts positively your performance, your health, your well-being. Nowadays, depending on mechanical cooling and sealed buildings with glass walls and gaining a huge amount of heat gain, and depend on mechanical cooling and ventilation, which is causing the phenomena, the thick building syndrome, which is transferring the diseases between spaces through the ducts of mechanical cooling. So it has to be a mix, a hybrid solution in our designs, and built environment and spaces between the natural or the passive solution and mechanical solution to have a better and healthier designed spaces for people.
Easier for you, sir, as a professor of architecture or as an architect to plan a compound, for example, for certain amount of people. I mean, overpopulation is something which would hinder you of creating, as we see, the dreams compound or the dreams city for living peacefully and to enjoy our life.
Yes, it's let's say in urban design, when we design at first from the scratch, people has to have a certain amount of vegetation and landscape to enjoy. So the positive thing about and why the people trying to get in the gated compound, neglecting my opinion about the gated compound and the way of thinking of segregation between the societies, but again, it's the people looking for a better urban, a better landscape, the people trying to find a good place to interact with the nature, which is not allowed in most of our neighborhoods. So it's very important to have a better playgrounds, landscapes, and shaded areas. It's very important for us to design, as a designers, to understand that we design an arid zones. What arid zone is? The desert zone, a very hot zone, dry, and a very high solar radiation from the sun. So designing in this part of the world has a different way of thinking. It's not like
but
we
now
designing
I think
in
your way of thinking will differ because of climate change. Because when it comes to dry areas or areas suffering from drought, we are going to face, unfortunately, more drought.
Yes, for sure. We will face this. We talked about this, like
deforestation, desert, you name it. Tell me how also climate change can have its very negative impacts on our architecture.
Well, it's decades before, since like 20, 30 years ago, we tried to inform and educate public and decision makers about the global warming and how this will affect our environment and our climate conditions, which is automatically will reflect on the product of the architecture that we have to do. Using different modern design thinking about creating glass walls and glass buildings, it will have a serious problem sooner or later, because we're using too much of power and electricity and gaining a lot of heat gain, reducing the shaded areas, reducing the vegetation in some spots that will create the urban heat island, which is higher the temperature level in some of the neighborhoods.
And sir, how do you see efforts exerted by the state to build smart cities, or to use the new techniques to have all our new communities eco-friendly?
Well, the eco-friendly concept is it's a must. It's not a choice right now
Anymore.
We usually talking about it like I said years ago, and it's not an option now. Right now, thinking about saving energy and saving materials for next generation is not an option. So creating a city, like the government is pushing to do that, creating smart cities and creating eco-friendly cities, this is not an option, it's a must. And using the smart...
As Egyptians, sir, do you have this culture?
Well, we try to educate more and spread the knowledge about it in schools, universities, and everywhere. And I think it's getting better. It's getting much better than now. A lot of public know about it.
You mentioned a lot of new dimensions, sir, when it comes to architecture. And I heard something, please correct me if I'm wrong, that many successful, or the successful architects are those who are dealing with wood, for example, as a living creature, because it comes from a living creature, trees. And to make sure that I'm going to use all ideas out of the box, to make my plan, to make my design not only successful but vivid. I mean alive. True.
Well, using natural material, as you mentioned, like wood or stone or marble, sandstone or whatever, it's a good thing. But again, considering the resources, considering the local materials, considering the local materials that we have, to use it to save materials for the second generation, to save the cost from importing different natural material that you don't have in your local materials. The good architect or the creative architect who knows that which materials, local materials, can be used to create and avoid the heat gain, avoid the negative impact,
and to study the place, or to study the area, whether it's hot, it's cold, it's filled with thousands of people, it's just for the elite or a specific sect of the society. In Egypt or in the Middle East, different than Europe, different than Asia or South Asia. Is it what I'm describing is right? Please elaborate.
Yes, it's one of our tasks as an architect. When we design, thinking about the segment that we design for, is it what segment, what financial segment, what culture, what's their background, how they live, how they think. Is it a densely populated area, and what we need to make it much better. It's a lot of projects that we do, which is retrofitting or redesigning an existing buildings or existing neighborhoods. So we have to do a lot of serious surveys and studies to come up with serious facts and numbers, help us to improve and enhance their lifestyle and getting much healthier communities.
Well, Dr. Mohamed Hendawy, Professor of Architecture here at Fortshire University, UK. Thank you very much for your input.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a very good day.
Thank you so much.
Well, by this we come to the end of our episode. Stay tuned on Nile TV International always for more updates. Many thanks for watching. This was Nermeen Abdurrahman.